Today, it's Q&A Thursday. Hi, and welcome back to the show. My name is Mark Leruste, and today it's Q&A Thursday. Now, today's question comes from Beth Brown, an author from Virginia. And here's the question. How can one overcome a creative freeze-up after achieving a sudden success? For example, say you're an artist or writer and you've been happily for a small audience, but then you win an award or reach bestseller status and find you can no longer create with ease because of fear that your new work will not be as good as your last. Beth, I absolutely love your question. And the interesting thing is that this doesn't just apply to authors or entrepreneurs. It actually also applies to athletes. I see this all the time. I'm a big fan of the UFC, mixed martial arts, and one of the things I see is that often these fighters, they've got this hunger, this thirst to become champions. And when they become champions, it becomes much harder to defend their title because maybe they've lost a bit of that hunger, maybe they lost a bit of that spark. Now, I don't know what you're experiencing, but one of the things that I know for myself is that I often find that perfectionism gets in the way of getting things done. And I sometimes get totally overwhelmed by something that I did that worked and then don't feel like I can follow it up. Here's an example. I launched my business back in 2012 and I had a really dodgy website that I basically created myself on WordPress with $50. When in 2014 I launched my book, I hired a designer to develop a new website for me. It looked so amazing that I felt almost worried to publish if it wasn't good enough compared to what the design looked like. But back to your question. Here are 3 things I suggest that could perhaps help you along the way. The first one, remember why you started creating in the first place. In your case, it's writing. I think we often forget along the way with all the obstacles that come and all the awards and all the acclamation that comes with it, we forget why we even started in the first place. So I'd invite you to sit down and perhaps write down what was it about writing that got you excited in the first place and what does it still do for you today? And connect to that, remember that. And maybe have it written down on a piece of paper and have it on your fridge or have it on your bathroom mirror. Something you can remind yourself over and over again. Number 2, this might sound a little bit weird and controversial. As much as I want you to reach big, I want you to act small. Now, this doesn't mean play small. Act small basically means that you're creating or you're writing for one person and one person only. It doesn't matter if there's 16 million people behind it or if there's 10 people or one person. I often find that when I give speeches or when I give talks, I try and speak to one person in the audience. I try and focus my attention on one person at a time because sometimes it can get overwhelming when you've got hundreds, if not thousands of people in front of you. And the fantastic thing that happens is that when you create for one person, you touch so many more in the process. Number 3, make your work more important than looking good. What I mean by that is that sometimes we can be so obsessed as to how we're perceived, what people are going to think of us, what if this isn't good enough, what if this is worse than what I did before, and we forget the very reason why we're doing this in the first place. This is a bit different than point number 1, because this is about making your work more important than you looking good. Beth, thank you so much for your question. I hope this helps. If you're watching this and you've got a question that you'd like me to answer, be it about how to get your message out there, or how to overcome some of the fears or obstacles getting in your way to chasing your quest, or doing the work that really matters for you, write down a comment below this video and I'll make a video about it just for you. Thanks for watching Q&A Thursday. Until next time, you know what time it is. It's time to take action.